I say that because I don't ever know when they're going to flip on. We're on 3 platforms. Looks like it's catching. Yeah. Ever since I got this uh Starlink, mini Starlink, Elon
Mm-hmm.
Musk thing.
You're right.
Yeah, I can go anywhere now. I can go on top of Mount Everest and get a signal.
Wow.
So I'm real happy with it. It's very, very fast because the internet over here in Mexico is pretty slow.
Oh yeah, you're in Mexico. That's great.
Yep, I'm in La Piñeta, which is the pine cone or the pineal gland. Is the name of the
Oh,
town, the name of the town in the bay. Go figure.
perfect.
Okay, let me just clear this up. Boom, and then go back over here. Boom. Here we go. All right. Welcome to Soulogy Speaks. Now, this is our second show today. We have an old friend on, Fran Baker. She
Bailey.
just, yeah, she just. Oh, I'm sorry, Fran Bailey.
I like Baker too.
I
Yeah.
was just no. I was trying to send. I was trying to send Kathy, our friend, Kathy
Yeah.
Mason.
Yeah.
I was trying to find her message, and I typed in Kathy Baker, and I'm like, what the hell? Why isn't she coming up? And it's still on my mind. I don't know what that is. I
That's
don't know what. There's something
funny.
too. Yeah. But yeah, Fran Bailey, and we've done some shows before. She's lit, obviously, as most people are that come on this show, if not all of them. Been a practitioner for a long time. Uh, Very down to earth, which is what I like about her. She's a dancer, which is cool because I love dance. And yeah, just a very unique lady. And we're going to just see what we can jump into for the next hour, hour and a half. And having said all that, welcome back to Soulogy, Fran. And it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming in and sharing sacred space with me and everybody else and being open to the unknown.
I, I'm with you on that.
Uh, yeah, it's always nice to be able to, to kind of get a bead on what's happening collectively through doing these shows. Even though I slowed down for 2 years for me, which was probably like, you know, 10 or 15 shows a month, I'm now picking it back up. I want to get to about like maybe 40 or 50. But it's nice, and you can still see it even with the more sporadic stuff, as I've been kind of going up and down, trying to find the balance and get the right internet and all that. Um, it seems like the experience and the intelligence coming in is converging, all walks of life. Like I'm hearing the same sorts of things, same trajectory from different people. I
Mhm.
know you've been, and anyone that wants to explore Fran and drill down, just type in Soul Speaks 5D or Soulogy 5D or Soulogy on YouTube probably because Facebook's taking off all theirs pretty soon, and just type her name in and you can go to them. Very interesting. But yeah, from your perspective, like even especially, I remember as I was in mid-May and I kept getting this thing about it's going to be a hot, hot summer. And obviously that meant we're going to burn off the grizzle. And I've watched it happen. I've watched amazing things happen to me and to many other people that I've observed in the work I'm doing. Yes, like somebody dropped the hammer, and there does seem to be a bit of all the work that we did. And I got this last 2 months ago too, which was the reality that from 2012 to 2024, we actually accomplished what we came here to do. But it was done in a distorted field, kind of against the grain. And
Mhm.
now we're on this other side, which seems like it's taken 6 months to really start to get some bearings where we're actually now more purposeful, more clear, more evolved, more aware, and we're working in a field that's working with us. So that's kind of like what I would bring in to kind of open this up, not to get you to agree with me or anything like that.
Yeah.
I genuinely, sincerely want to know what is your take on what's going on. Does it look anything like I described? And if not, what does it look like to you?
I would say that yes, I think there is a sense of freedom. that the the job is done, and now it's just sort of the reaping of what is to be, and holding on to what has to be or should be doesn't exist. What exists is that the work has evolved, and the work has now been put in place. And I wrote this thing called "My Heart Is Full," and it's this kind of place of high creation, love, support, divine energy that is a constant every day, even in the throes of chaos. There's this
Mm.
kind of openness of okay, there it is. And if I go down into those 3D levels of the human experience, which is normal, then I touch down and then come back up, and then remember that I'm just reflecting love, and that um, that is that's the nugget, that
Mm.
is the nugget, and that is now manifesting every day, I think. Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, no, no, I get where you're coming from. I mean, because there is like I like what you said about the regardless of what it looks like as you're navigating it, there is this I've always called it the common thread. When I reawoke in 2011,
Yeah.
actually it was long before that. It was in my 20s. I was an avid reader for almost 20 years. A couple of books a week, and all in this field.
Right.
And I remember after studying many religions and philosophies and that type of thing, I would describe it as a common thread. There's a common thread that runs through all of it. And I don't know if you can really bring it down to one thing. I think there's maybe several different ways to look at it. One might be the golden rule, or, to take all the fluffy out of it, just what goes around comes around, like the universal math, the universal language.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, the way that so it's like this common thread through it all. I often go through this exercise when I drink water, because look, I'm not. I think everybody knows I'm not the best practicing light worker that's out there, but I am conscious, and we're becoming more conscious. So I'll get a bottle of water, which I know it's in a plastic bottle,
Yeah.
you know, and I'll say to myself, you can't dilute or erase the mother. Like they're whether whatever they put in it or didn't put in it or whatever, it's water. She's in there, kind of thing, like the space in between an atom. But there's this thing that you know I'm seeing a lot of people reflect, which is I don't know if I want to say we did it, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like, oh hell yeah, we got this. Like okay. And I think the other thing I noticed too, although I know people talk about this around the world, I know we're not, in this super soul cell over here where we're untouchable or whatever, but they're not talking about the wars. They're
Mm-hmm.
not talking about the GMOs and the chemtrail. It's almost like they're all false flag frequencies. And they're kind of like, in the Bible, I remember reading and it said in Revelations, there will be rumors of war,
Mm-hmm. That's
right? So it's like, is it even real? You know, like kind of thing. Like now
right.
you work with a lot of people. Have you seen a change in that regard in let's say the field as
Um, yes, I think that there isn't the language barrier, meaning, the words I would say maybe 3 years ago now is just the common language. And what's happening is that people are getting it faster. They're beginning to understand that they really need to move into another direction. And in order to do that, they need to do self-inquiry work. And that's what I do. It's like, I'm just a reflection of you, but you have to do it because it will sustain itself. And it's
Mm.
really finding, that divine in you. So those words are now a common language, I would say, that I may not say divine, I would say that remembering who you were, or remembering finding that love in yourself, for yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that the way it's said, as well as the way it's energetically projected, it's being received in a different way.
Yeah.
That's what I see or feel.
Yeah. The word that's been popping around in my head, I want to write a song to it, is reflections.
Uh-huh.
Like I've talked to obviously many practitioners like you over the years, and most of them, even through the early years, say, early after 2012, they would say, I don't heal anyone. I just show them like a reflection, or I show them the door. And so the reflection thing, I feel like that's what you're saying. Like there's something's being seen differently now.
Mm-hmm.
I had an experience with somebody 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
or a week and a half ago, and like so many of these things that come in during these power dates, like 7/7, whatever the other ones are. Again, I'm not a great light worker with the dates and all that, but after the sequence of events occurred, you know, I noticed two things. One, and I had a conversation with a sister I've known a long time yesterday, and it was the same element, which is what I think you're talking about. And it was two people in the same band of frequencies that
Mm-hmm.
have gone through the grind of the human condition, that are not acting like, oh, we're all fluffy love and light. No, no, this is real, but connecting in a way that I would describe, I can see myself in you and you can see yourself in me. And it's not just words. So when I had run into this person 10 days ago, all this stuff happened, and then I took a breath back and I thought, wow, I actually see this person.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really see this person. Like, and it doesn't mean that this person is something that it's not even about that. It's about the sight and the sensitivity. And I think that's what you're alluding to, that, hey, I can actually see this person as a soul. I don't see them as a human that needs fixed, for instance,
Right.
because you have on the feminine side, you have the mothering aspect, and on the masculine side, you have the Mr. Fix It aspect. Well, they're really the same thing. Let me fix it. Something's wrong. Let me fix it. No. And the last thing I would say to that is I received a message from an old friend, a dear old friend yesterday, that was looking for a specific type of energy work and had been working with somebody in that arena, but that person was, I guess, booked or, something.
Yeah.
Can you recommend anybody? And I said, you know what? In this space and time, what I would recommend for myself or anyone else, because it's coming,
Yeah.
is go into a room, private, silence, solitude, turn off the light, connect to your soul, and start there. Because one way or another, you're going to be led, because that's where we're headed. It seems like we're self-sourcing.
Self-healing. Yeah, and that's what the method is for sure. It's yeah, definitely that's why I'm here. And I think that to simplify what self-inquiry is and not be afraid of it is is the challenge, but also the intrigue. So
Mm,
you have that intrigue of learning, then learning about what you are becoming, and sit with it and enjoy the ride, then it becomes something different.
yeah, yeah. It's so crazy because, I almost feel like that Soulogy, 2012 to 2024, right? Like the last Soulogy Fest was at the end of 23,
Hmm.
and that was 11 years, right? I mean, you're in the 12th year, but you're not the full 12th year. That would be 12, 21, 24, right?
Hmm.
So I remember at the end of 23, I was being shown this is it. You're the final steps or the final things are being phased out, and we're ramping up into the next. And and then you come and so you let everything go. I was
Mhm.
instructed, let it all go. And some by force and some by flow. I feel
Right.
like I've talked to a lot of people that's happened to. And
Uh-huh.
who would have thought I would have shut down my my livelihood, my life's work, right? But on the other side of it, you come out the other side of it, and I feel like maybe that's why it took 6 months of 2025 to get acclimated after that solstice in the December of 24, that 12-year mark. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, Almost like, whoa, what happened and how does this work? And, how do you walk and how do you talk and how do you communicate? And then this deconstruction of
Mhm.
everything that I'm not saying like Soulogy was Soulogy, Soul Speaks 5D, Soulogy One Studios, and now it's been, given like, okay, Soulogy Speaks. That means everybody's voice or something like that. So in other words, what we bring with us is the thread I was talking about.
Mhm.
Whatever is aligned with that thread, call it the mother, call it source, and everything is new. And because the old
Right.
it can't.
Yeah, and exactly. I mean,
Like
that,
square peg, round hole, right?
so if I look at it, if I can, um, I kept looking at this and looking at this. I said, this doesn't work anymore. This system is not working. This isn't
Mm,
working for this. This isn't working for this. So you have to let go of what's there and allow that new energy to permeate and come in and say, well, no, that structure is not working anymore. It doesn't exist.
yeah,
It's like it just keeps falling away. And so when that happens, then you have to keep unfolding and keep clearing and keep clearing and keep clearing for the next stage or the next. It's almost as if there isn't next. It's
right,
just what is,
right.
and you just open up to the probabilities.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point you're bringing up. We we learned from the trauma of the past. We detached in reverence. We don't live there anymore.
Hmm.
That's what it is. And I heard something come in the other day, and it was like, it was almost like I was in a conversation, big Todd, little Todd, and it was like, hey, what is this intuition thing? Like we know it, we've had it, but there's something else going on here. And as I was being shown like life review form, that there was a fine line between insecurity and intuition. Because, and the way, and I even saw a video on this like 2 days later. So there's something to be said for that kind of stuff, like I was saying at the top of the show. And I think that person was talking about when you make choices from insecurity, you're making it from the past. So you're
Hmm.
making it based on your experience, where the intuition is, like you said, it's right here, right now. There is literally no tomorrow. So I think that's what I'm trying to say is that the future is there, but it's there like you said, a possibility or a trajectory,
Yeah.
but it's not a place that you sit there and think about or you live in anymore. And that would mean to me, and a lot of people talk about being present and presence. And I think that's probably the closest I can come to it. Uh, because if we're 100% or whatever the percentile is present with ourselves, then that's going to have an equilateral reality in those that we interact with, right?
Mhm. Right.
It's,
Right.
it's
It's and the joy is that the minute we start going to judgment, and we all judge, you can't help it, but the minute we go into the over judging and then try to put everybody in a certain box and certain, it just, you lose everything.
mm,
You go back into a hole, and it's like those are the cues. The cues are that okay, you're in judgment. Just keep coming back to your heart. Just keep coming back to what's what is real for you, and then you keep letting go so that the other person can be who they need to be in whatever time frame, whatever, not time frame, but wherever they are in their life
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think that's a good point too, because in the light worker community, and we're all part of that. So I'm not differentiating myself at all. I'm just saying it is what it is.
mhm.
But because we've all done it, like you said. Um, but there was almost like a spiritual bypass, certainly a spiritual superiority. That meme, what's that famous meme? Something about if we don't agree, or if you can't meet me here,
Oh,
I love you unconditionally, but and I bless you
right.
Like I'm Buddha.
Mhm.
And so again, some of these experiences that have created the, I don't know how you would say it, but have grown the field of consciousness or awareness have come so quickly. They seem to be coming quicker and quicker and quicker, and they're happening through these interactions, primarily life reviews, memories, that type of thing. And well, at least the way I get it is to process everything to myself, for myself. So
Mhm.
whoever the player was on the other side was simply another mask of the external universe, which is really my reflection. And
Mhm.
that saying is, as painful as it's been for all of us to accept, is when you don't like something or about somebody else, you're missing something in yourself. And the way I would sum all that up is the way this thing is moving, I don't have time.
We don't have time, right? I'm just
I
gonna
don't
say,
have time for anybody else. I got It's a full-time job now.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
there's time. Yeah.
it really is.
Mhm.
Because we don't know what's going to happen. I
Mm-mm.
mean, that's part of it.
No.
But somehow or another, I think this is up your alley. Um, we don't know what's going to happen, but there is that thread that whatever happens, we determine that. But you can't like go train, train, train. You know what I mean? Because all the modules are gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, what it is you wake up, you have everything that you've experienced. You take a step into a new day, a new world, a new earth, and it's got all different vibrations, colors, frequencies, rays, memories, and so you have this kind of this gait, this cadence that you've been walking through life with, building this, connecting to this,
Mhm.
and then you come in and you kind of have echoes of that. You hear a lot of people talking about, well, I know I'm supposed to be doing something, but all I can do is lay down,
Right, right, right. Exactly.
which is important,
Yeah,
really important.
it is. It is. Give yourself a break and stop. And as a dancer, many times I would perform, and my favorite performance was to work with one musician and either saxophone or flute player, and we would, rehearse, we'd do some sort of set,
Hmm.
improvised thing, but we would never set completely because the joy of the beauty is that the audience would see the improvisation of what we created in the moment. So it's that kind of um, level of creativity without holds,
Yeah,
form, but there's no form.
right.
So there is there's the music and the dance and the day and the work that you do, and then there's the family, and then there are all these things, but if you can think of yourself as the artist in your life, the artist, how you're conducting your life, then all of you are in all those roles. And I'm talking about, your soul, your body, your heart, your mind,
Mm,
your spirit,
yeah.
So it's fascinating how connected. And that's how I see the evolution. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I
Yeah.
do too. I think, art
Hmm.
isn't the only place that creativity was meant for. I actually believe that creativity well, as an artist, you can relate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have a outline, you know what I mean? You know, there's something about the spontaneity, the improvisational thing, right? There's something about it. It's almost like a it is a truth frequency because it's raw, it's transparent, it's there, it's
Right.
moving, and it spreads, you know. So we've had this turn of incarnations and art and poetry and you know it's all over here and we get it. And what are most of it? Most of it's seen from the deepest place or expressing from the deepest place, a lot of time pain and suffering, and it's profound. But the creativity, to your point, is a way of life. And if
Mm-hmm.
it's a way of life, for it to be at the highest level of potential, then there's a direct relationship between that and being present, which means, you know, where you look at the past and now we just got to don't be so fixed on the future and every moment that creativity, which truly is to me divine inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
is a player in the
Right.
field, like the Holy Spirit or the third energy or the golden child, whatever you want to call it, you know?
Mhm. So would you mind if I read this what I just wrote?
No, no, go ahead, please.
It's kind of apropos that
Whatever you would like to do. Yeah.
um so I did this meditation. I went out west and then did this free meditation, and the idea was to, do a clearing and then sort of do an earth walk in the meditation, and just noticing everything on the land and the sounds, and in the end we were climbing a mountain, and I said, let your legs carry you at your pace, right? So we get to the top, and I said, now we're at the top, and just view the valley. And but I want you to get in a circle, and I want your backs to face the center, just like a chakra, right? You know.
Mm,
And so, because we don't use our backs, we don't use the back of our energies. And so they did that, and then I asked them to turn around and face the circle. And what happened in the center of that circle? The energy that was building was a collective energy.
mm.
So this was very cool. Anyway, this came from that. Okay.
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 That's a cool story, by the way.
Yeah, it was a very good. Okay. Heart is full. Time is now to let go of the last threads of resistance to love. Embrace, welcome, merge, blossom into the person you are meant to be. Today we are one with the sacred space of beauty and divine order. We are part of the mystical earth energy, even in the midst of chaos.
Mm,
Nature is calling us near. Listen, hear the sounds of the forest, mountains, oceans, rivers, birds, and animals.
mm,
Our connection to earth and our ancestors must awaken to heal old wounds. The indigenous people and shamans are rising again to remind us of who we are. We are being asked to release the grip of fear, anger, and hurt, to remember that love is at the altar of truth.
mm,
Settle in, she hears, feels, and knows you as part of this creation. Submit and release your worries. Our roots run deep. Let nature take its course. You are allowed to have joy, love, and peace. Beauty speaks in perfect order. My skin is your skin. My breath is your breath. My love is your love. Waters are calm. Peace is present. A new kind of joy has arrived.
mm.
So what you
Yeah.
kept saying, yeah, and I kept thinking, oh, I got to read this just because.
No, no, I see the connection.
Yeah.
And that word has been the biggest word in my interactions the last 2 days, joy.
Yeah.
The previous guest, a friend of mine, um, that's pretty tapped in, who's tapped into some others in her peripheral. that are speaking that same language.
Mhm.
Like, and I'm talking about joy. Like, like all these words on the other side, they're not the same word.
Right.
I mean, joy is like if you just if you take one word and describe what is being handed to us or what we are becoming or however you want to put it, and you we can use joy. But behind joy is so many streams, you
Mm.
know, so many things like creative projects or passion, um, just so many things, you know, like I feel like intense, like well, whoa, we don't have any. That's almost what it feels like to me. It feels like we're walking, like say we came out of it in January and we take a step and we're so used to taking a step and looking around and then taking another step and looking around, you know? And gradually, as time has gone on, we're realizing there's less and less or really no resistance if we
Yeah.
take care of business here, which is weird because the functions that we had and the duties and the actions that we took in the past, they don't even apply anymore.
Right.
It's weird.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
really strange. It's like I'm a little bit apprehensive about the podcast because I can feel the difference, you know. And I know what it takes to build up. I know, you know, what effort it takes, like constant effort, you know. And I understand the field. I understand magnetics, you know, the contagious aspect of the soul or the truth or whatever. But it's almost like, you know, that term less is more on
Hmm.
steroids, like on steroids.
That's
You
good.
know, you know what I mean? It really, it's like I can't measure what I'm doing if I use myself as an example based on views, likes, engagements, comments, and messages. I can't.
Hmm.
I can't do it. It's not. It doesn't work anymore. It nullifies my thinking. You know. So just you go in, you do the best you can do. You open up in co-creation, whether it's this or you know dance or whatever it might be, conversation, uh, and kind of see what happens. You know, it's like an unknown.
It's nice. It's very nice.
Well,
Yeah. It's it's like when I said we've arrived, you know, there is that, you know, when I wrote that, I was like, yeah, you know, we really have. It's just now we just have to um each step is rich. It's almost it's full. It's like complete.
mm,
And every time we move into that divine, we are divine. So, you know, we are one and we are part of this new um level of evolution. So it's cool.
yeah, yeah, it is. It's a little bit confusing too, and nerve wracking at times, and there's a lot of stuff happening with the body,
Yes.
and for some, it's more emotional, more physical, more mental. For me, it's very much centered in the body, and there seems to be, and I know we've talked about this stuff over the years, and oh, we've passed this point and this point, but I never felt comfortable with that. But what I do see, you know, is is the deepest, darkest, grimiest, gnarliest stuff, you know, appendages of, you know, anchors and implants or however you want to put, whatever your language is,
Right.
hereditary, lineage, ancient ancestry, whatever. Like that stuff's coming out. Like it's coming out full force.
Hmm.
And I know in people around me, I and myself, I have seen it show up in the body. And it doesn't even matter the human story as to what the progression of that seems to be from, say, a medical perspective. The
Hmm.
fact is, you know, the body is expressing itself or showing something. And I know there's been a lot of people that have transitioned, but and probably will be more, but I've seen a lot of people bounce back,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah. I mean,
from.
my liner is, the body doesn't lie. So this is an education in itself. The cues are right there. They're
Mm,
in, and whether it's manifests physically, emotionally, or spiritually, or behaviorally,
mm,
there is the behavior part of us as humans, as far as,
mm,
if the body is hurting, what's the behavior? They're not listening, they're in denial. So they move away from the body and do something else, to keep running away from. And
mm,
that's the denial. And then there's the anxiety of having denial, and then I can't get back in. And so there's this level of complete loss of, their energy, where they need to go. And with somebody the other day, I could feel it, I could feel it. And it took me a while. I mean, I gave her some cues, I gave her some very quick notes, and but I left her and I went, oh my God, I'm feeling the energy she's feeling. Because what happens as humans, as we communicate with everyone, if they're not at a certain level, we try to match their energy in order to help them move into another level, right? That's just kind of
yeah,
a healer's kind of empath
mm, yeah,
direction. So
yeah,
we're matching that energy and trying to match that energy so that they can understand what that might be. Number one. Number two, if they're still not getting it and they're in that frenetic place, you try to ground them in order to get them to feel okay and less lost. So when that happens for an empath, you have to pull away, pull your energy back, and regenerate yourself and send love to that person, to their higher self, to their guides, to get them to find the calmness that they need
mm-hmm,
or to survive. But there is this exchange always.
yeah,
And sometimes that darker, what that stuff is that comes in for you, could be coming from someone else that you
yeah,
might be matching.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it triggers something in you.
yeah.
So we all are here collectively and doing what we need to do in order to find our way.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you bring up a good point though about this is kind of my personal. This is just Todd, the armchair quarterback, making observations and sharing them with my friend
Okay.
because I have a very curious mind.
Yeah.
Uh, I've had quite a bit of experience through my family
Hmm.
with what and I don't like these terms at all. What we would call psychiatric, um, psychiatric issues,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
Um, and so I've been familiar with the establishment's methodology, the reality of living with people you love,
Mm-hmm.
um, the experience of knowing those people had a sight to the other side,
Hmm.
and also the inability to really put myself in their shoes because it was so foreign, right? Alien, you know? Okay. So, and this really, most of my experience with this goes back over 12, 14 years ago, you
Hmm.
know, like say from like 2000 to 2010. Um, One of the things that I feel like it's very likely to be happening is that whole, like many things, I guess, but that whole uh, genus, genus or whatever that scientific term is, a category of medical thought is is obsolete. Like it's gonna just disintegrate. It's gonna blow up. Like the indigenous used to utilize those people, not utilize them, but give those people space. They honored them. They honored their gifts, and they just knew they were different, right? So that would be one thing, and that's kind of the secondary thing. The thing that you really hit on, which has popped up in my mind in the last few weeks, we spent all this time talking about programs, We got a fear program, we got a death program, we got a this program, we got a that program, effing programs, right? Out the wazoo. And all these quote unquote treatments or sessions for these programs to instantaneously eradicate them one by one. That's my general, not sarcastic summation. That's just like, oh, that's kind of how I see it. Okay. But what you're bringing up, you would think would collapse with the program, but the patterns, the behaviors, the patterns, and I think this is where the rubber's starting to meet the road because to your point of your great example, let's say you and I are interacting, and because of that interaction, something comes up for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I haven't seen it before. Okay. Now, I may not have spent much time with it because, to your example, I go over here and deny it.
Mm-hmm.
But now you said something that I think is part of this characteristic of this evolution that we're having. I call it the no bullshit zone. And so I go over here and I'm in denial.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm already lacking presence with myself and awareness with myself because I see this energy come up. It's probably been coming up since I was 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm over here trying to keep myself occupied because I don't want to deal with that. Okay. Now I have this anxiety that it comes because I'm because I'm not doing that. So
Right.
it's like you get this double
Yeah.
whammy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you could speak to, and I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, like, is there a newfound awareness or importance of focusing on patterns as opposed to programs? I mean, these are like lab rats
Mm-hmm.
things, right? Like we go through this maze, there's food at the end, we come
Right.
back.
Um,
So what could you speak to that?
well, it's interesting because I part of the my method is body work and very deep meditation, and then the Enneagram, which is study personalities. Of course, that was designed in early 1900s about you mind type, body type, or heart type, and how you navigate, and that's an analysis of what
Right.
type you are. So, and if you take away that programming, I mean, I learned from that, but now it's like I can just see it energetically. What I think the difference is, and maybe the possibility is that the energy in itself, the universe, the way it's coming in so fast, it's shaking all those programs, all that anxiety, so that what settles down is the person, the authentic person. So I'm not sure if the anxiety is coming from a personality loop, can be a combination of that, and then the energy ramping up. So the
Mm,
body's showing two things. Is this a behavior from the
mm,
past? Is this the energy coming in that's creating a different kind of anxiety? However, if the energy can break through, which I think it can
mm,
quicker,
mm,
if we can actually acknowledge, oh my God, I'm going to jump to a higher frequency in order to let this go, then it becomes theirs.
mm.
That's not a program, that's just a suggestion.
Right.
So, in other words, I'm thinking of this person that I was with. So, I'm trying to give you an example that might make
Right. Right.
more sense. Um, so, she had various things. She had cancer. She did the whole medical thing. I advised her not to, but she did. So she had the radiation, then she was moving, she suddenly moved, and then she's in the city. So basically, all this trauma that has happened to her is coming to a crescendo.
Mm-hmm.
And now she has a new space. So if you think of a new space and a new body, and let the energy come in and burst the old and come into a new space and a new body again, burst the old
Hmm.
and come in again. It's just like a repeated, then the grounding begins.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That's I'm picturing that, and I think where I'm at is like okay, yes, I can. Okay, how would you say it? Let's say I have uh, I'm blocked up here in my left shoulder,
Right.
and energetically it's from whatever, you know. It's gonna stay in my body. It's just gonna break up and go back to where it's supposed to be, kind of thing. So I guess another example for me would be like we often associate our balance, our boundaries, our equilibrium or lack thereof with people,
Mm.
right? Mother, father, right at the
Mhm.
top of the chart,
Mhm.
partners, exes, children, blah, blah, all the way down the line, right?
Right.
Um, to me, the biggest victory, the biggest proof of alignment has always been to get to a point where I see that person is myself. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Now I can think of a relative right now who sexually assaulted a child
Mhm.
that was very close to me and had an experience just a couple of days ago with that person. And I had to like sit down and take a breath because I was so impacted by the leveling up I'd done to be able to have this conversation, right?
Mhm.
Which we know this all takes work. And this goes back to programs and patterns.
Right.
I think the programs were the presentation.
Right.
The patterns were self-induced. So another example would be instead of looking at people, let me look at labels. And I've had this discussion with many people over the years, which is in private session or
Mhm.
like this.
Mhm.
I'm an empath.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm not a narcissist.
Right.
So I remember having this session with this lady, and she was telling me about her partner, and he was a narcissist. And by definition, yes, I'm not questioning that, but this is not just the human perspective. And I said to her, do you see him as yourself? She said, hell no. I said,
Mhm.
well, there you go.
Mhm.
I don't have the exact recipe, but this is my point. So now if I can look at this person who did that to somebody close to me and I can see them as myself, that is the only way I can put it. It's a mirror, it's a reflection. Then why can't I do the same with any term? Because it's all coming from the same pool. Okay. It's all coming from the human condition.
Mhm.
And the truth is, we all have both in us.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? We all have degrees of superiority, inferiority, hierarchy, narcissism, empath.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the real trick here, we always talk about we're empaths. We're empaths. We're empaths. Well, yeah, okay. Well, everybody's a fucking empath. That's just my take on it. We're
Mhm.
just tapped in at different levels. Okay. The real empathic thing to me is to put yourself in someone else's shoes, right?
Mhm.
When I put myself in that quote unquote abuser's shoes, then I was able to tap into the you, me, we, and it and see where he was coming from.
Mhm.
What happened to him?
Right.
And what happened to the guy that did something to him? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, that's true empathic, is to be able to put yourself in someone else's shoes as opposed to understanding that I'm hypersensitive to everything.
Mhm.
So what becomes a weakness and a burden becomes that superpower of empathic ability that's I've heard people writing and talking about for the last 14 or 15 years. That
Right.
that this is what I'm like, what is it? What is it? Now
Mhm.
I get it. Now
Mhm.
I get it because if I can put myself in your shoes and we're in a field of interaction, and you can do the same. We are the same mind, heart, soul, spirit,
Mhm.
intelligence, wisdom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's what I do know, and we all have had in our families. I mean, there's certainly, in my ancestry, sexual abuse and alcoholism and addiction, and they are very similar. So that whole thing is definitely present for all of us, especially now because it's we're looking at every day. We're looking at it in
Yeah.
the news, and I mean it's right there in our face. It is. I was thinking,
Yeah.
it really is part of us. We're seeing this ugliness come up in all of us, and it
Exactly.
has to come up in order for it to release.
Yeah.
And there is, I look at shame and blame energetically. That is probably the worst, shame and blame.
Yeah.
Because if you look at any kind of abuse, um, addiction, whatever, sexual, whatever it is, that shame and blame sits right there.
Yeah.
And it all triggers us because we all have it.
Yeah.
And that in itself is just, I mean, it locks everything in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then there's denial. So the shame and blame that's what I work on a lot. It's
Yeah.
just all that shit.
Yeah.
Gotta
I
let
think
that.
shame. I think shame is the lowest on, isn't it? The lowest on David Hawkins.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you just brought up another good example. I remember having a conversation with someone a long time ago who was abused uh, for many years. Okay. And I don't really know much of the story after that.
Mhm.
I knew them as an adult and, maybe a few anecdotes of relationships or whatever, but it was a prominent characteristic coming through. And I would have to classify it or describe it as shame,
Mhm.
even though that person was not a perpetrator.
Right.
And then I was comparing it to my own life.
Mhm.
I wasn't a perpetrator, but to myself. But
Right.
I was a wild mofo and I did a lot of stuff, right?
Mhm.
And upon reflecting upon it, and they didn't understand it when I said it, but I said, wow, like if you went that way and I went that way, but on the other side of whatever we did, there was one uh, thing common, and that was shame.
Mhm.
So it took the emphasis off of my own actions to make me realize this is what you chose to feel this.
Right.
So by the same token, let's just say in that example, that person chose this life to feel this, and then obviously we overcome it.
Yeah.
But I think that where I'm was getting at with the whole psychiatric thing, and it's funny because I'm befriended a psychiatric nurse in the house that I'm staying at,
Mhm.
and has taught me a couple of things because I never thought much of it. I didn't have good experiences with them, but having the when you talked about okay, this thing comes up, I've seen it before, I go over here and deny it. There's something going on in the psychiatric, I don't know, something going on that I think I'm trying to get to, which is, in terms of having a conversation, that we know what we're doing.
Mm.
Like, I know I'm denying that. I
Mhm.
know the anxiety is coming from this. And it's like a set of dominoes,
Mhm.
right? And so I think that's the level of clarity, if you get down to the nuts and bolts, because we're always out here, the fluffy, the galactic, angelic, and all that. But to actually have this conversation, this thought, this pure thought, this that's always been there, the thread,
Mhm.
even though like the silver cord, we're on the other end of it, off the reservation.
Mm-hmm.
um, that we're actually now able to say, yeah, I want to give this a shot.
Mm-hmm.
I want to, what the fuck is this? You know, like, what is this going on here? And it's just me.
Yeah.
And no
Right.
more that person did this or this happened to me. No, that's not
Right.
working. It's not working. It's like, okay, in here,
Yeah.
do you understand
Mm-hmm.
this keeps happening? Every time it happens, you go run and then you get anxious and then you get into other things, you know, habits and da, 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 da. I feel like that's, you know, because it's become so human now.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't rely on these other aspects. They're all there and cheering us on, but the humans got to go, F this,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
more of that.
No more of that.
Yeah, I'm
Show
gonna,
me, show me
yeah,
what I need to feel or see or hear,
yeah, yeah,
and be okay with forgiving whatever that was that you did. And that is part of you.
yeah,
That's you. So bring that you in, love that you
yeah.
and get going, you
I
know.
think that's what it is. And when you said that about the collective, I
Yeah.
absolutely 100,000 million% agree that everything coming out is a reflection of what's coming out within all of us. And obviously, it doesn't look the same for all of us
Mhm.
in the story,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I absolutely feel that is the case. Uh, and the whole idea is this: I'm looking at something that's not me.
Yeah.
And that there it is right there. That's the way we flip the table is because it's all me. Even if I can't relate to, oh, I've never would do that. Well, never say never. I mean,
Mhm.
look at all these billionaires and these rich, crazy rich people that are tied to all this, whatever you want to call it, this horrific, satanic, da 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 da. Well, have you ever been in that situation? You know, blessings are burdens and burdens are blessings.
Yeah, right,
Somebody
right.
drops you $1 billion in your pocket. What do you think you're going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you would do that, but the chances are that you would run out of things to you know entertain you.
Right,
Everyone,
right. And this expression um, keeps coming up, and I think it's part of what is being shown. When is enough? When is enough enough?
yeah,
You know, where are those boundaries to remind us of the that we're human and caring? And so I
yeah,
think that's where the subject is as far as, you know, when you say that when there's never enough. And so they
hmm,
keep going and going and going and going, and they get nowhere. And there's an empty pit.
that's right.
And so I think we're asked to find ourselves, no more empty pit. We've got to find that place in ourselves so that
Yeah,
we are comfortable
yeah,
knowing who we are and being okay. I'm enough.
yeah. And really, when you think about it, it's exactly what you said about the denial and anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, think about it. Somebody hands you $1 billion. Now, well, look at the what is it? The lotteries.
Hmm.
Have you ever seen those statistics in the lotteries? The $1 million lotteries, right, all over the country. Uh, 5 years from the day they win, 95% don't have their money and their lives are marriages are broken and such. So somebody drops $1 billion in your pocket. I want to go to Disneyland for the weekend, rent the whole thing. I want to go do this. I want to go do this. I want to go do this. And what are they actually doing? They're actually doing exactly the same pattern that you described earlier. They're out here, and don't get me wrong, maybe there's 5% out there that are balling out and living life and get it that if you don't get it here, you don't get it anywhere. But
Right.
the vast majority of us, we're putting something off, putting something off, putting
Yeah.
something off. And so it's an interesting it's an interesting thing to take in when I'm sitting here in a town that I can live here for $1,000 a month,
Mm.
you know,
Mhm.
like, and it's authentic, it's real. But if you ask people, where would you rather be, Jeff Bezos or this people here? They're going to say Jeff Bezos. I'm
Mm.
not.
Mm-mm.
I probably would have before I came here, but
Yeah.
now I can see the vitality and the spirit of life, you know,
Right.
in a way that I could, but not to this degree,
Right.
to,
Awesome.
to, to see that kind of thing.
That's great.
Yeah. It's pretty wild stuff. So what do you got coming up, Fran? You got anything coming up?
Well, I'm going out of town tomorrow and I'm going to continue my sessions and, so on my website, franbaileyhealer.com is a free gift,
Mm.
meditation. It's a updated, meditation for the chakras that I just finished a while back.
Yeah,
And,
I had it pulled up. I'm gonna pull it up. Keep going.
and, yeah, I'm just constantly, creating, doing lots of audio meditations, and doing sessions with, I usually work in threes, somebody who really wants a major shift, um, that I would do like 3 sessions and get channel all the energy and all that to get them on the right path.
Right.
And then I do things called tune-ups, um, which are, just to check in. And
And that's all here, right here.
yeah, yeah. So if you go to offerings, yeah, those are the services. If you go to offerings,
Here. Okay.
yeah, you can do the
Here.
Shiva products, and there's blog, and there's
Oh,
meditations.
I see. Yeah, I see
Yeah.
here.
So all those are up. And then the free meditations on the homepage.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Free
Cool.
chakra meditation worksheet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
your stuff's always been put together very well.
hey, thanks. Well,
Change a little bit, a little bit.
Kathy's awesome. She's awesome.
Oh,
She is
Kathy,
Mason.
I know. I was going to make a joke and say Kathy Baker.
Oh yeah, yeah, Kathy Baker. I'll tell her. Oh, how fun.
No, no, I'm sure she's watching. That was so funny too. I pulled it up. I thought, did she block me?
Oh.
Because it showed a Kathy Baker, but it wasn't a friend of mine. I'm like, what happened to Kathy? I just talked to her. No,
Oh.
I knew it was me. I just, it's after effects of another massive, intense lucid dreaming sequence last night.
Oh. Cool.
That stuff's getting crazy. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you write it down?
Sometimes, sometimes I don't have like, I'm not good about that, but sometimes I'll write it down with a pen. Sometimes I'll write it down with,
Good.
on the computer, and sometimes I'll just remember it and start talking about it to somebody or on the show. But yeah, for me, I thought I was talking about on the last show. To me, what it's, there's this thread thing, and it's that the connectivity between what we call dream state and awake state is becoming the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And also the recall, I don't have to write it down. I mean, I'm not remembering everything, but I'm remembering more and more and more. And it comes like that. And it comes when I need it. Um, and it also feels like time and space,
Mm-hmm.
like a lucid dream experience. There's no tension of time and, space being like, I can be sitting here and having a conversation and then turn my head and not only is my focus, but my whole body's moved into another room.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like this is still running. And you know what I mean? So I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that, but I have a feeling because I've been getting it for a few weeks that you're almost like either you're going to carry like everything will be like a lucid dream experience, I guess is how I would put it. Something like that. Or the intelligence from the dream state is coming into the awake state to help us to, like say, uh, apply those multidimensional,
Hmm.
abilities to the waking state kind of thing, right? No, but then again, you're talking to a guy who believes he'll be teleporting soon, bilocating, you know,
Hey,
instantly manifesting. I
anything's
do.
possible.
I feel like I'll be here till 800 plus years. Uh,
Yeah.
that's just, I'm sticking with it. I could step outside tomorrow and get hit by a horse. Here I can. We have horses out on the street.
I love it.
Well, it was great seeing you. We'll have to do this again later in the year, and if
Oh,
you're up
great to
to it.
see you. I'm happy that you're where you are, you're living, and you're happy living in that town. That's
Well, I just
awesome.
I kind of ended up here. It wasn't all planned. And then I, kind of like looked at, the level of responsibilities that I would have because I'm here till October 20th. And can I even do this as I'm trying to,
Yeah.
jumpstart Soulogy, on the other side of it. And then I thought, yeah, I can do this. Yeah. But definitely, I threw my back out a couple days ago. Got blisters on my hand working in the garden. Got stung by a bee. Got a few thorns in me.
Oh,
But
oh,
but
you're
it feels good. It feels good to be sweating, and it is pretty hot. But the people are cool, and again, you wind up in a place that you didn't think you'd be, and it's called the pine cone, the pineal gland. Like, okay, and I go to the bay, and the bay teaches me, that's the way I do most of my stuff is out there. And yeah, I don't have any complaints. I don't know where I'll go from here, but we'll see. But I'm
well,
definitely going to be doing this.
well, great. Love chatting with you. It was a treat.
Me too. You
Yeah.
take care, and we'll see. I think Kathy's coming on in about 4 days. I got to put up the new promos for next week. But
Mhm.
thank you so much for coming in and being
Well, thank
so
you.
cordial and down to earth, and also, sharing with us your skills and abilities. You guys don't forget her website, Fran Bailey Healing. Is that right?
Healer.com.
Healer, FranBaileyHealer.com, and we'll see her again later in the year if she'll come back on. All
Okay.
right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
Take care
you.
of yourself.
I will. I will do that. Take care. Bye bye.